Hi everyone, and welcome to my channel. Today we're going to be talking about something that's very loaded and it's very difficult to make sense of. And it's about equality, equity, and balance, and in a way sort of morals and ethics in paganism. And that's a lot to kind of unpack. Um, I am going to talk about a lot of kind of very personal things and just a general trigger warning on this video. This is unscripted. This is very, very random right now, but um, one of the things that we need to talk about is women-only circles, goddess, religions. And the first thing is no. Paganism in and of itself is not a goddess-based religion. There are just too many paths that fall under the umbrella of paganism to make that sort of claim. There are paths within paganism that are goddess-based and female only. Now, one of the problems that we have to confront is the female-only groups that do not allow transgender women into the groups. And as a cis female, I do not have the necessary experience to fully talk about this. Not that I don't have experiences, but I will never have the experiences of a trans woman, therefore I will never know exactly what it's like to be excluded. I will say that many of the goddess religions that are the female-only groups that I have seen have been literally all about fertility. And that's true with Dianic. It used to be called Dianic Wicca. I think now it's Dianic witchcraft. So I never really jived with these because I just never did, because I don't find that fertility is all that important. And especially having, you know, my path be based in a more Roman, which that's not to say that the Roman path isn't about fertility. There's definitely a lot about fertility, but my particular path isn't about the fertile woman. These groups also exclude women, cis women, who are infertile or who have had hysterectomies or, just, never had the ability or were always infertile. So all of that feels very unethical to me. I feel if you're going to have a female-only group, it should be for all women. And it's, to me, it's the same as bathroom laws. It's exactly the same as the bathroom laws. And my cat has chosen now to use the litter box and be loud about it. I'm sorry about that. But it's exactly the same. Just because somebody is trans, it doesn't make them less of a woman or less of a man. Trans, I can't believe that this is a debate at this point. That we're debating whether or not someone who is a woman is a woman. The other thing and this is all going back to goddess-based religions, um, is the idea of balance in paganism. And what does balance mean? Now, there are people who think that balance is you have to worship a god and a goddess equally, equal amount of time spent with them, equal amount of offerings given, equal amount of everything. Now, well, yes, that is the basic, very basic version of equality. I think the thing that we're forgetting is, and I don't know why I'm stumbling so much. I don't know. Maybe it's just because I'm nervous about making this particular video because it's going against what a lot of the popular opinions are. But for many, equality is, and balance is about, and especially people who come from a male-dominated religious path, it's about shedding the, old male god, one true god attitude. And that's really hard. Okay, I'm going to use myself for example because I can explain it better. I was raised Roman Catholic. I went to Roman Catholic school, Roman Catholic church. I was baptized. I received my first communion. I don't think I ever made it to confirmation. I think I stopped going to church before my confirmation. For a very short time, I wanted to be a nun. Yeah. But when I began working with other gods, when I began my path, my pagan path, it was very hard to connect to a male deity because I had all this lingering psychosis, basically, about how you're supposed to act toward a male god. And it was a very Catholic attitude about this as well. Like, it was definitely, you were Catholic once, weren't you? Like, and that's how I felt whenever I approached a god. But when I approached a goddess, it was completely different, and it felt more balanced to me. It felt more natural to me. Whereas approaching a male god, it was very stiff and forced, and it just didn't work. So I see that as a reason why a lot of, not just women in this case, but a lot of people kind of, when they reject their, Christian background, they focus heavily on a goddess. And that's not a bad thing. It really isn't. And there are just some people who are practically monotheistic when it comes to their pagan religion, because I work with this goddess almost exclusively, and they're fine with that. Everybody in the world is making a lot of noise today. My neighbors have just stopped after God knows how long of pounding and moving furniture or having a block party. I don't know what they were doing. But back to the goddess thing. So, is that equality? Is dedicating yourself to a female deity equality? Well, not by the definition, but it is balance. It is finding a new balance in yourself. And I have found myself working with more male deities. It took literally 15 years of working almost exclusively with a goddess, but it finally balanced itself out. And I think that's because I spent nearly 15 years prior to, bowing down and kneeling in front of a male god. And if you're lucky enough to have been born into a pagan path or found your path when you were very young, or were raised without a religion before finding paganism, the ability to balance male and female may have come easier for you. I feel a lot, and if I'm wrong and I'm just making shit up in my own crazy head, like, tell me, because I will have a conversation about this. But we can't discredit somebody working with a female goddess or a female deity exclusively due to religious traumas in their past. And it can be. Depending on your church, it could be very traumatic to grow up in certain churches. I was lucky enough to have, some pretty awesome churches and pretty awesome church leaders. I know other people weren't. Another story from my childhood. I went to a friend's church. They were Baptist, yes. And it was their youth group, and we're sitting around and we're talking, and somehow we get on the subject of LGBT. And one kid kind of raised his hand, like really timid, and I think you know where this is going. And he asked the pastor, the youth pastor, what do I do if a friend of mine is, thinks they're gay? Obviously, everybody knows what that's code for. I think I'm gay and I'm scared. Like, that, when you ask about a friend, I think I was 15 years old, 14 years old, you're asking about yourself and you just don't want to out yourself. The pastor looked them dead in the eye and said, being gay is a sin that will damn you to hell. You should not be friends with that person anymore and cut them completely out of your life. That's kind of a traumatic thing for a young kid to hear. And whether this kid really was talking about their friend or not, I don't know. But almost always when they say, I'm asking for a friend, or I have a friend who, they're asking about themselves. They're talking about themselves. Other things that are, along the same lines. If you step away from that kind of very dogmatic, very strict church, it's hard to reprogram yourself. So when we talk about balance, it's about balancing out you first. Because I can sit here and say, until the damn cows come home, that paganism is about balance and everything equally, and male and female, none is high. But if you're dealing with coming from a background where men are lifted up and men are considered the leaders of the church and men are given more praise and it's all male and it's all male dominated, it is so hard to sit there and accept a male deity back into your life after you've broken away from a patriarchal group. Now, I'm not suggesting that it's impossible, and I know plenty of pagans who, leave their Christian church, and it's mostly with Christian people. I haven't met many pagans who left either a different religion or, I guess, left atheism, or agnostic a little bit. But yeah, it's not a black and white this or that issue. It's so convoluted when we sit down and really talk about what balance is to each certain person. And again, that's going back to, well, this might be your pagan path and it might be like this, but mine is different. And because there are so many paths under the umbrella of paganism, we can't really judge another person's path because we don't know them. Which is why, again, my cat is doing something. She's making noise. I think she's just like cleaning her paw and her tag is hitting the railing or the ledge there. And that was weird. Um so yeah. This is not a fun topic, but I do want to have a discussion about this and leave me comments. Definitely make videos, link them to me. We'll have a conversation because I think this isn't talked about enough in the pagan community. I think just a lot of assumptions are made, and a lot of people are very preachy about equality and real equality, and balance is half this, half that, all the time. And it's not as simple. It's definitely not as simple as that. So I'm gonna let you go because I've made 2 freaking long ass videos today and I'm kind of losing my voice because I never talk this much ever. Um yeah, I will see you next time. Like, comment, subscribe. Let's have a conversation going. I will see you next time. Have a beautiful day. Bye bye.